Boys, I'm going to show you how to jungle with Urgot in pre-season with these new nutty changes they've done with Urgot. On the screen, when I'm loading into game, I'll flash the runes and the purpose of the rune pages and why you're using them. But the main rune page you want to be using while jungling is Fleet. The reason you use Fleet in the jungle is because it deals more damage to jungle camps and it gives you movement speed around the jungle. If you time Fleet correctly, you can do a full clear on Urgot by 3 minutes. So I'll be showing you how to clear on both sides of the map. I'll be showing you the routing, and I'll briefly talk about what pets you should be taking and why you should be taking them. So the best pet to take is the Gust Walker Hatchling. It's because his movement speed and Urgot's problems in the jungle is mostly just movement speed. You can opt into taking no potion because Fleet will keep you healed for the most part, so the potion isn't really necessary. So for red buff, you start W always unless you're invading. If you're invading, you go into the enemy jungle with E starts, but don't start E unless you need it. Because W start is the reason Urgot jungle is so good. So on the red buff, you circle around it and use as many legs as physically possible, as fastly as possible. You head to Krugs. You don't hit the small Krugs until the last ones are on full HP, because you have your little jungle pet now. We'll call him Grumpy. We got little Grumpy here. He'll be hitting the smaller Krugs and clearing them for you. So don't hit the smaller Krugs unless you absolutely need to. This is a leashless clear, so it'll be a free 15 clear. Especially if I misclick. So the idea is you want to get all your legs on cooldown and head over to Krugs. You want to smite the big Krug. You don't want to smite red buff. Ideally, you have a bot lane leashing you down to 200 here. I would specify to them that since you're Urgot, your first clear is insane. Smite big Krug, E through, hold W. When this one gets low, swap over. Because your jungle pet and red buff burn will be applying onto them. Don't hit the small ones, hit the 4 HP small ones. Kite them out. Then you head over to Raptors. On Raptors, you hit the big Raptor. You don't bother hitting the small Raptors as usual. It's a common theme you find with all camps. Wolves is a little bit different. Again, you get it low, your jungle pet will finish them off for you. Just kite and kill the ones that like are straggling. Pet level 3, start Q. Q the wolves from out of vision. Hit all 3 in the middle. E through the camp to isolate the big one. Focus W on the big one. These will die. To your south-facing leg, like this. You can slightly double camp here. You need to get blue buff down to about like 300 to 400 HP. Before you're allowed to do it though. So what you do is like this. You aggro Grump. Stay here. E through. It dies. Grump will try to reset, but it will walk back to where you are. And then you hold it in the aggro timer. And then you can choose to smite or not smite Grump. I'm not going to smite Grump because I cleared at 315 with 1 smite. And that's how you clear this side of the map. That's a 315 clear, 1 smite on Urgot jungle with Fleet. As long as you're managing your legs. I kind of messed up on the red buff there. If you manage your legs correctly, you should be able to clear 315 solo. If you have a leash, you can do it by 3 minutes. If you don't have a leash, you it takes 315. But 315 is still really good. Because now the scuttles spawn at 330, so a 315 leash means you can either gank top or bot, depending on your pathing. But I usually recommend that you always start red buff, because the red buff does damage to camps and it speeds up the clear, obviously. But I'll do blue star on this side just to show you how a leash looks without blue star. It's like barely not noticeable. It saves you like 1 or 2 seconds, but if there's people out there who like to min-max, you probably want to do red start. You can also delay buffs if you want to. When you go from red buff start on this side of the map, you can just skip the blue, then do Grump first, then head over to blue, and continue the duration of the blue buff a little bit longer. So for this side, it works pretty much the same as the other side, because obviously they're the same jungle camps, it's not that much different. But you're a little bit slower because it's a blue buff. It's pretty good to start blue buff here, because bot lane is leashing, and bot lane leash is pretty good. Do note, if you have a Kai'Sa, Jhin, or something that leashes really hard, like a Kalista, don't use your legs on the W, because Jhin 4-shot scales with missing HP, and he'll end up like not being able to 4-shot because it will steal the buff. Kai'Sa has a 5-hit passive, which does more damage. So if you have an ADC who's doing like a lot of damage to the buff, don't spin around it. Save your legs for Grump. But this will be another leashless clear, so I'm going to use all my legs, obviously. You want to smite Grump, because Grump does more damage to you based on how high his health is. So when you smite Gromp, you take away his attack speed, and then you take less damage doing the camp. Blue buff doesn't have anything like how low its HP is and stuff like that, so... As usual, start with an auto attack, W around it, and then drag it to the right, so you're like already pathing to your next camp. Don't turn on your W on this camp. You'll get a double fleet proc. And you can kite it, smite Gromp, kill with the auto, E, auto, then W. It's important you weave in these auto attacks because they're very important damage. You want to auto, then immediately W after your auto attack is cast. Just to be really optimal. And don't cancel auto attacks like I just did. I wasted a leg there, but it shouldn't affect the clear speed too much. Again, you only hit the big wolf, don't bother hitting the little wolves. Unless you're like kiting it out like this. Unfortunate. My little wolf let me down, man. But you know, it doesn't matter. I got griefed by wolf. That was because I missed one of my legs. It doesn't matter though. It's like a niche amount of EXP. They kind of made jungling pretty brain dead. Cams will auto respawn even if you leave like the smaller animals. They used to be like if you didn't kill the smaller animals, the camp wouldn't fully respawn, and that's how you would like counter jungle. But now it's like completely chill. Again, don't hit the small ones. Just hit the big ones, and then you hit the small ones. I will kill it. Like, sometimes it just chooses to not hit it, and I don't know why, but yeah. Sloppy 317, still level 4, whatever, you know. And that's how you clear Urgot jungle. Hit the wolves. Even when I did it like super sloppily, it doesn't matter. So I'll talk about a little bit about lane state. Ignore this minion wave state. Ideally speaking, Urgot can't gank these lanes that have no CC. So let's imply the enemy laner here is Camille, right? You can't gank Camille. There's no gank angle on a Camille. So if you see like a Camille, Fiora, anything with a dash, don't bother heading over towards this lane because you can never gank it. Even if you're like, but if your laner is Camille, you can gank it because she has EW slow, you know. You need to look at the abilities like very practically when you play Urgot jungle because you can't gank every lane like a traditional jungler. Like if mid lane is a matchup, like let's say you have Yone, they have Victor. Yone can EQ free it as the engage, and you just like engage through here. So you would sit right here, wait for Yone to EQ, and then you have like a gap close. But if the laner is like Ari, who has movement speed abilities, you can't catch her, there's no point being here. Same for bot lane, if the enemy bot lane is like a hypermobile champion like Caitlyn, a Dash, Lucian, Nami. You can gank lanes like those, but it depends on your bot lane setup. Like if you have Blitzcrank, Nautilus, Fresh, Hook champions, they're very good to play around. But if your bot lane is something like Samira, Janna, don't bother. Your main goal with Urgot jungle is to get to Ravenous. So I'll flash the best build path on screen now. Best build paths are on screen right now. So here's the rundown with the runes. You do Fleet, Triumph, Legend Tenacity, Last Stand, pretty much always. You never change Triumph, Legend Tenacity, and Last Stand. They're completely optimal. But your sub runes and your main runes is situational. So you can do press the attack if you have an enemy jungle matchup that you need to fight. Like let's say Xin Zhao, Hecarim, Udyr, stuff like that. Stuff that wants to invade and walk into you, so you don't need the movement speed to get to them because they're going into you, right? You want fleets if you just want to clear the jungle and play for ganking. So let's say you have like a Vel'Kar's, Camille, Nautilus, bot lane, all lanes you can gank. You want fleet to like get around the jungle as fast as possible. I do believe Fleet is the best rune page, but you can take it to a new Severe by running Approach Velocity and Free Boots. Free Boots would delay your boots, obviously, because they're free boots. If you get a lot of KP, it doesn't end up amounting to anything. Or you can do Bone Plating and Revitalize. You do Bone Plating and Revitalize if you have an Enchanter on your team. Bone Plating is to fight the Hecarims and the Xin Zhaos, or you can do Bone Plating, Overgrowth. Overgrowth is the scaling HP rune, it just helps you with scaling a little bit. These rune pages work with every single build. The builds are very diverse and the runes are very standard, right? So you run these runes with any build path, it's good. So there's no specialization there. The best smites in order is blue, green, red. Red is the worst because Urgot has enough damage if he gets on top of you to begin with. The blue just helps you get on top of people. Twitter and Twitch is in the bio below. All build paths I keep updated, matchups I keep updated on the YouTube. I post a patch note rundown every single patch. I do item build paths, and, you know, any information you could ever want, I put on Twitter. I'm live every day at Twitch TV Urpog. That'll be in the description also. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you like and subscribe. I'll see you later, boys. 07s.
Damn, is that the Urpog merch? Didn't know you were down like that.